Hi, this is the second episode of my Lotus 23B video series. The car behind me, you can see, looks a little different to when I originally got the car a few weeks ago. I will go through some of the changes that I made, some of the improvements, some of the maintenance items, including getting new tyres. I found out that the rear tyres were over 26 years old, so it's all been replaced with vintage correct tyres. These are from Fredestein, the classic series, so I'm very happy with that. And we'll just go through some of the changes, some of the improvements, and apart from just putting new harnesses in the car, I think the car is safe enough to start driving on the road again. So here you go and enjoy. Looking at the front clam, we can see that it looks a little bit higher on the front. And especially if we zoom in here, we see that this gap here is quite a bit larger than that gap over there. So it would appear that the front of the clam is raised a little bit. Now, if you zoom in a little bit there, you'll see that there is a bracket that's there. Now if I remove that bracket, you can see that there is a bracket coming down from the support bar that supports the clam onto the chassis there. And you can see that it's missing probably 30 millimeters, which is probably about the amount that the front of the clam is too high. So what I'm going to do is get under the car and find out, well, why isn't the clam sitting down lower? And let's see what we find. So here we are underneath the car, underneath the clam, and you can see the radiator shroud follows the clam pretty closely, but it actually is it's resting against the front of the clam. So it would appear that if I was just to lower the radiator shroud a bit, I would be able to get the clam down lower. Now to do that, I'm going to scribe a line that follows the curve of the clam, and then that will give me some guidance as to where I can chop the radiator shroud down a little. So here I've printed a disc, and the hole in the middle fits this marker pen perfectly. So what I'll do, I'll just run this around the top of the clam and draw a line on the edge of the shroud. So with the clam being traced on the shroud, you can see the line there. You can see that it's actually thinner the further up we go, which means that there's more space between the clam and the shroud. So once I get the clam off, I can look at that. I need to measure how much I want to lower the clam in the front, and we'll go from there. Okay, I've taken the nose clam off the car, and primarily it's just to do some initial repairs to the fiberglass here. You can see it's cracked, and this is true on both sides. Now in order to be able to move the clam in different directions in order to gain access to repair it, I'm going to take the windshield off. It's held together by these rusty bolts. They'll be replaced with stainless steel bolts. I'll probably also take the headlights out, maybe not. But the idea is that I can then turn the clam upside down in order to get underneath it. Okay, this is the underside of the nose clam. And as you can see, we've got some cracking here in the fiberglass on both sides. It looks like perhaps this has been force put on it at some point. Also, you can see that this had a fairly rough paint job. So I think the first thing to do is just to repair the fiberglass, get it strong. The cosmetics about repainting the clam will come at a later time. So I want to fix this up. I want to get rid of the rust here, make sure the hinges run nicely, and then put it back on the car at the right level and then continue on with the mechanical improvements of the car. Okay, I've ground out the cracks. There's a little crack there, and it's not too bad, but that can be filled. This one is obviously a major one, and I'll probably need to put some backing there to get the levels right. And then this one here, the crack, that looked like we had a crack here to the left. That was just in the paint, so the fiberglass is fine, but we do have a crack up here. I still need to grind out a little bit more, but once I've got that clean, I'll start putting some clamps in and start glassing that over. Okay, here's the initial layer of fiberglass that I put on. Underneath is some aluminum tape, just to create a barrier between the fiberglass and the shell itself. So we can see in here. Now this is extremely rough, so what's going to happen is that I will wait for it to set, I'll sand it down, and then I'll put some more layers of fiberglass on there. When I got the car, the previous owner put this steering wheel on. It's actually the wrong steering wheel. It's the steering wheel for a Lotus 7, and he'd made it fit onto the boss of the 23B. So I also received from him the correct steering wheel, but it didn't fit the boss. So what I did was to create an adapter, and let me show you how I did that. First of all, I designed in CAD an adapter. You can see the inner ring here goes on the hub, and the outer ring, the holes there, go on the steering wheel. I prototyped it on my 3D printer. This one here, the holes were slightly off, and I adjusted it, and as you saw previously, fitted it to the hub. Then I took the design and sent it to a company called Send Cut Send, and they made it out of aluminum. So you can see here is the final version of it. I cheaped out and didn't get the holes tapped. I tapped them myself, and once I'll spray that with clear lacquer just to maintain the finish there, and I'll put that on the steering wheel, and that should be fine. Okay, here's the final steering wheel with the aluminum boss. I think it looks quite smart. I just have to make sure that all the bolts are tightened, but as a authentic looking steering wheel, I'm really pleased with that. One of the modifications I made is to replace the existing lead acid battery with an AGM battery here. So what you see here is the current battery holder. I didn't want to modify the car at all. So what I've done is I 3D printed a plate and a holder for the PC680 battery. I'm going to put some rubber under there to hold the battery in, but you can see it's held in at the bottom. So that should be fine. And that is replacing this crusty old battery here, which weighs way more, and it should help the weight balance in the car a little. So here is the front radiator shroud, and you can see the line I made, tracing the distance between the clam and the box. Now what I want to do is just slice this off in such a way and go follow that curve around, and then lower this onto that. So basically reducing the height of the shroud, and I believe that's the main thing that prevents us from lowering the clam. After fixing up the fiberglass, putting some Bondo on, getting rid of the yellow mouth, I've just done a quick spray of Corso Italiano red. It's not perfect, but until I get the whole clam repainted, it will do. It looks so much better than what it did, and this is what's going on the car. So now I have to get back to making sure that the clam fits correctly. I've just filled in the holes in the rear clam. Just put some fiberglass in there, some epoxy, sanded them down, and now I'm just painting it. The paint is a pretty good match, but it's just basically to make sure that the car remains a looking reasonable at 20 feet rather than anything exceptional. I do plan to paint the clam, both clams and the doors at some point. The priority is to get the car running reliably, enjoy it for a little bit, and then I can think about how I want to get the clams painted, whether I'll keep it red or change the color or whatever. So I've now got the car into a drivable state, apart from the harnesses, which I'll put in later this week. What you can see here is the nose cone being repaired, the stripes having been removed, the windscreen or air deflector being cleaned up with new bolts holding it down, the side windows, and also the rear clam with the mounting holes for something having been repaired, and the stripes removed. The steering wheel in there with the new boss, and what you can't see is the fact that I've done an oil change. I've tightened lots of things in the engine bay. So other than the harness, this thing is ready to go, and I'm looking forward to driving it and then deciding what the next steps are. So thanks for watching this episode, and in the next one we'll find out how the drive goes and what still needs to be done to the car.